Hello, welcome back to another video tutorial here at GeekatPlay Studios. My name is Gary Miller. Let's come back over here in Cinema 4D and check our progress so far. And you'll probably be able to see a little bit better the results that all the little tweaking and the bending produces by adding all those additional cuts and extra edges in the geometry of our objects. If I zoom in here on the roof, you can see how just those, spending a few minutes moving some points and edges around can add to the kind of realistic look on these individual pieces here, especially the roof as it's all caved in and bent and weather beaten. Now, one of the things I observed in some of the reference pictures that I obtained from Google is the large number of different, not only textures, but types of materials that are used to create an old building like this. Wood, this type of metal with a different type of paint that's different from this piece of metal that has a different type of paint on it. And then this side piece that I created, totally different from everything else. And these are different from everything else. Now, I did use some repeating textures here, but there are just a whole bunch of different textures here, and that's really kind of an essential element if you want to really create a good rustic look. My favorite location to obtain very realistic textures and extremely inexpensive realistic textures is this site right here, Naamanology. They have probably maybe 30 different packs of textures that you can purchase, and if you notice the prices here, $5, $5, $10. I don't believe any of them are more expensive than $10, and the quality of the textures that you get are very good. In fact, the textures that you saw on my model all came from the contents on this website. So you can click on here and view all the various textures. They are very high resolution and very high quality. So if you decide to create something like this and want some good aged realistic textures without having to create your own, this is where I would go first off. Okay, so we've got our roof, we've got this piece of metal here that is going to go on top of our roof. Let's do something just for fun here. Let's make a loop selection around that, and let's copy that edge. There we are. Okay, now I'm going to bring this whole thing right up there. Let's hide the roof again. Select those edges, loop them, re-enable our roof, and let's just bring this up. There we are. Okay, now I think what I'll do is I'll copy that edge a couple times, and let's use soft selection. Select some edges here, and I'll increase the size here of my soft selection, increase the radius, and let's just give some, change this to world, let's just give some abuse to this here. It's not perfectly form-fitting, and that's what I like. And let's bring some of these up. And oh, look at that, the piece is too small. It doesn't span the entire width of our roof. Oh darn. Well, that's okay for me, because I really don't want this thing to look perfect. Alright, let's hide that piece. Let's come back to our roof. Now I'm going to select this edge here, loop that. Let's duplicate this edge. There we go. And I'll duplicate it one more time right there. Bring the soft selection down. Now what I need to do is I'll select that one there. There we are. Now we need to bring this down. So that it kind of matches our roof. And let's add a little bend to it. Because the wall here is sagging. We're probably going to want to bring that down a little bit. There we are. And it's sagging here also, so let's bring this down. Too far, come back up with it. There we are. And got a little bit of a gap here, and I think I will retain that gap, but just make it a little bit smaller. Okay, I think you get the idea. Maybe let's select these edges here. I don't need. Let's select those edges. Oops, I need to be on this piece. Select those edges there. Have a little soft selection, maybe a little bit more. Let's drag that out a little bit. And maybe push this one in just a little bit. Okay, you can definitely see where this is going. Okay, let's come around to our, let me see, is this the house? Yes. Okay, I'm going to save my progress here. I'm going to select on my house, if I select it first, select that face, use my sweep surface tool, and I'm just going to dial in an inner radius here to create some windows. That'll work. Now if you notice, because I slanted the sides of the house down, these points here are not straight, and I do want them to be straight, so I'm going to select both of these. Now notice there is a great deal of offset, and that there's a numerical value for this offset, and you'll find that right here in the Y value in the size row, column, whatever this is. And the numeric offset is 0.326. Well, I want that to be 0, and that will straighten that edge out. So I'm going to do the same thing with that one there. Change that to 0. Now what I think I'll do is I don't want these to be uniform, so I will move them around. Make this one a little taller, bump it up. Okay, there we go. Delete that polygon, delete that polygon. Alright, Now I'm just going to group everything together. Control A and group it. I'm going to create a cube over here. And I'm going to call this trim, because I'm going to use this to make the frame around the doors and the windows. Now, even though these walls are paper thin, it's not really going to matter, because I'm going to use this wood to cover up the edges of these walls so it doesn't look so paper thin. Whoops, there we are. Let's raise that up. Let's raise this whole thing up a little bit. And I'm going to take this and drop it down. There we are. Okay. Control D to duplicate that piece. Let's move that one up here. There we are. And Control D to duplicate that one. Rotate that 90 degrees. Let's move this right over here into place. Now, if you are concerned with absolute precision and making sure everything lines up, then you might want to check out my tutorial on correct or exact alignment on objects. It shows you how to use the alignment tools that comes with Hexagon, and they're very good once you understand how they work. Okay, I'll take this piece. Oh, I'll make it a little bit wider over here. There we are. Okay. And naturally, you'd want to create these to go on this side as well. I'm not going to do this in this tutorial. I'll save a little bit of time here. Okay. Let's Control A to select everything, and let's group that together. Oh, we need to come back over here to our door. Doors right there. Probably ungroup everything, make life easier on ourselves. Okay, let's make a door out of this. I'm not going to make it one solid piece. I'm going to use several pieces out of it. Make it out of several boards, and I want it to be not the correct size. Now naturally you'd also want to, just like I did on the windows here, you'd want to do the same thing over here. Create would they be called door jambs? I think door jambs, something like that. Okay, let's use the tools here, multiple copies, and let's increase this to, say, let's try 70. Create a little extra space in there. Maybe 420. Nope, that's a little bit too much. 405. Oh, let's try 390. Okay, 390 will work. And let's create a bunch of copies for this. There we are. Let's drag that one into our group. Okay, so here's our door. I think I'm going to ungroup this actually, and I will take one of these, Control D to duplicate it, and rotate it, make some supports for it. One up here, Control D, duplicate that, move that one down there. And Control D to duplicate that one. And let's give this a little bit of rotation, change the widget to selection, and now we can increase its size. Give it a bit of rotation. There we are. Okay, now these things go on the inside of the door. Select that one, selected that one. Let me make sure I've got them all. There we are. I'll just weld these together. Let's hide our building wherever it is. There we are. Okay, so that would be a door for this thing. Select all these pieces, and I guess I'll just group them together. Let's shrink it down a little bit and put it right inside here. Now those little pieces that I created here on the inside of the door, for whatever reason I must have deleted those faces. Oh no, I extruded them and I didn't cap them off. I forgot to close it. Let's see if I can close them all now. There we are. And I'll need to close this one. Come on now, don't get stubborn on me. There we are. Okay. Now I created these not because you would see them, but you might, depending upon how you use a model like this, you might see them on the ins. From the outside, you might see that they do exist actually, rather than just some boards that are floating in midair. Okay, so this covers all of the individual elements that I used when I created my building. You probably would want to tidy up this wall here, and the distortion, the destruction I did to these walls, you would also want to do to the front and the other side as well. So without actually finishing this model, I've gone through all the steps that I took when I created it. There is one other thing you may want to, let me see, what piece is this? I believe it's, there it is. You may want to duplicate this object, Control D, and reuse it elsewhere. Let's get rid of some of these. Select those edges, loop it, hit F to convert that selection to faces, Shift plus, and then delete those edges. Now let's bring it around. And let's just put this into place over here. And just line it up, and now you've got an extra piece that has been used to patch a hole or whatever you want to use it for. So you can certainly reuse some of these pieces if you want to. And if you want to create, I think I may have mentioned this in the first tutorial, if you want to create the type of corrugated metal that has the half circle instead of this type of corrugated metal, you might want to look at my creating a Mediterranean roof tutorial that I created, because the process that I go through to create that type of roof would be the same here. It'd be the same as if you wanted to create the corrugated metal, with just a very slight variation. So that's it for this tutorial series on creating an old building. Thanks for watching here at GeekatPlay Studios. My name is Gary Miller. Have a good day.